Turn our attention to the Week 12 slate at hand, and we will start with that aforementioned Eagles and Rams game. And I know we're talking wide receivers a lot in this one. And Cynthia, what are we looking at wide receiver-wise on the Rams side of things?
Well, I just think you're going to play Cooper Kupp, but you have to be aware of the upside here. Look for a little bit more upside elsewhere. Why? Because that secondary is very, very dangerous. I mean, obviously, we saw what happened to Scary Terry last game, but also Quinyon Mitchell has been excellent. And then you have to see Cooper DeJean, some Cooper on Cooper crime here. We love that. But in the slot, he has been excellent since their Week 5 bye. God, I love it when I make Rank laugh. It's the best thing ever. Just be aware of the upside here. Make sure you take some bigger swings in other places.
Oh, anytime we talk about beware of a player, because I'm going to say beware of Kyren Williams, what you need to understand is if you're in a season-long league, you are going to be playing these guys. You're not getting off of Cooper. You're not benching Cooper Kupp.
No.
When I'm sitting there, at drop-off, or when I was at drop-off earlier today, You're telling these parents, no, we're still playing these guys even though the matchup is bad. Kyren, I'm trying to figure out what time zone we're in. Listen, Kyren Williams is one of those players who you have to play him. The Rams want to run the football. He has not scored a touchdown in 3 consecutive games, to the point where Manti Te'o was getting mad at me today. And I'm like, dude, do I look like the offensive coordinator for the Rams? It's not my fault. I want him to score touchdowns. It hasn't happened. So if you're setting a DFS lineup, find somebody else. But if you're playing in your home league, you're likely starting Kyren Williams.
Detroit and Indianapolis. And I guess we have another beware that we're bewaring right now, huh?
We're being aware of, does that work? Jonathan Taylor.
Everybody sucks.
It's all bad. Gloom and doom. But look, Jonathan Taylor had a weird game last week against a Jets defense that is very nice to opposing running backs. And now this week, they're polite. And now he faces the Detroit Lions, who are impolite to opposing running backs. They've allowed the 4th fewest fantasy points per game to the position. And if you're looking at third down, which of course we all are, the Lions are best on third down. So with some... Frank?
I'm going back to the Cooper Kupp thing.
I am going to punch you in your face. There's going to be some Jonathan, there's going to be some Cynthia on Rank crying here. Anyways. Obviously. Anyways. Beware of Jonathan Taylor is all I'm trying to say. If Rank would let me get a word in edgewise here.
Oh, I'm sorry that you're breaking me for a change, and now everybody's all up in arms. But listen, I know that we've had a lot of bewares, but when I walk around these halls, they call me Perry Positivity, because I only bring positivity. I love Jameson Williams this week against the Indianapolis Colts. I think over the last couple of weeks, this Lions offense, I really love the way that they still go after it. Obviously, a couple of weeks ago, Jared Goff throws 5 touchdowns. Doesn't matter. They still go out there and put up a ton of points. Last week, they're like, we've got an opponent that we could probably just slow play. And nope, we're just going to destroy you. And this week, I expect something similar. You look there at this matchup against the Colts, they've allowed a lot of production to opposing wide receivers. J-Mo is, I should have said must start, but he's an obvious start.
What about...
I'm not warmed up for Ray Romano.
Where did Ray Romano show up here?
Ray Romano is a comedian who was on a show called Everyone Loves Raymond.
Oh, everybody loves Relief Raymond.
And you still didn't know who he was.
I didn't know that's already off the rails. We're only in the A block. Hey, let's fast forward to Sunday. Big matchup in the NFC West between a couple of teams really looking to win the division there. And let's go with a must-start, Florio. JSN is, he's being the guy that we thought he'd be last year.
Yeah, it's funny. It just took a year and a half to get to this point, but he is an absolute must-start for fantasy purposes. In his last 2 games, 24 targets, 17 catches, 290 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's averaged 29 fantasy points per game in each of those, but this goes back even further. In his last 7 games, he's averaging over 9 yards per target. The Seahawks throw a whole bunch, and what I really like is the Cardinals secondary is underrated. They are good at taking away out wide receivers, but they struggle against the slot, and that is where JSN gets all those targets from.
I'm going to stay on the Seattle side and sort of reassure you that you can start Kenneth Walker. And maybe he hasn't given you a huge blow-up game in a while, but the consistency is really what you're looking for out of a guy like Walker. Now, here's the thing. Early in the season, the Cardinals' run defense was an easy target for us. They have been a lot better in recent weeks. They've given up less than 90 rushing yards per game since Week 7. But for Walker's part, he's had double-digit fantasy points in 7 of the 8 games he's played, and he's the guy getting the work down near the goal line. We don't have to worry about any shenanigans. There's no Zach Charbonnet coming in to take away these opportunities. He leads the team with 7 goal line carries, so that touchdown upside certainly keeps him in play in a game that I do think actually could end up being sort of a back-and-forth contest between these two teams in the division. Minnesota and Chicago, and look, I know you're going to pick a bear in this one. Which
That's
bear?
not necessarily true.
Okay.
Yes,
What
it
if
is.
I was going to say beware of Jordan Addison? He's got a really tough matchup this week. But again, Perry positivity here is telling you that a sleeper, actually probably more than a sleeper, is Roma Dunze. And I can't wait till next year when everybody's like, oh, this is the Roma Dunze we thought he was going to be. No, he's a rookie. He's going through the thing. But I will say, in August, when we were talking about Roma Dunze, I said, listen, everybody's going to draft Roma Dunze, and then he's not going to meet your expectations, and then you're going to drop him. And by the time we get to Thanksgiving, there's going to be a scramble to add him once again. As you see right there, he's had at least 6 targets in 4 consecutive games. But the biggest thing I want you to remember, in that game on Sunday, when it was 3rd and 19 and 4th and short, Caleb Williams made 2 passes. Both of them went to Roma Dunze. That is the guy that he is starting to establish the connection with. You want him on your roster, and I know that Keenan Allen had some trouble at practice today. Like, I think he rolled his ankle, I think was a report. So pick up and start. I'm going to say start Roma Dunze. Start him.
Woo.
Ooh, all right.
Perry positivity on the Bears. I will go, though, with the Vikings. And look, me and Cynthia disagreed on this on Game Day Preview last week, and Cynthia was 100% correct in saying to start Darnold then. But that's not going to stop me from doubling down and saying to sit him this week against the Bears, because the Bears have allowed a league-low 7 passing touchdowns and the fewest fantasy points per game to quarterbacks this season. They have not allowed a top 10 fantasy quarterback all year, and Darnold has only finished top 10 once in his last 6 games. So because your Bears are so good on defense, I say get away from Darnold this week.
All right, so Nathan negativity here to go along with that. Positivity there. All right, we got the Bucks and the Giants. We know there's a lot going on the Giants side of things.
I haven't heard anything.
It's coming out. Just be patient.
Wait, what happened?
Here's the thing. Mike Evans, Cynthia, is on a Hall of Fame career track. He was fantastic this year before the injury, but now that he's coming back, I mean, could I possibly start him this week?
I mean, I don't know if our producer figured it out or not, but I just want humble brag, so I went and put as many of like the top
secret is out.
players
I love that.
as we could in the homework, and he was kind of like, Cynthia, this is supposed to
I
be
love
helpful
this
for like
journey for you.
start
Now it
or not
all-
start. But now we figured it out.
Now we
Cynthia
figured out the
wants
hack.
HB, but you want to start Mike Evans. This is the only one that he allowed me to keep, just so we're clear. If you're looking at this opportunity after missing 3 games, he is still tied for the most end zone targets in the NFL. And I love this next-gen stats note. The Giants have allowed almost a 41% catch rate over expected on deep passes. No other team is over 13% on that. So it is 3 times as likely to catch a pass, a deep pass, against the Giants. So I love this opportunity for Mike Evans and my potential for a humble brag on Monday.
Well, I love the opportunity for Tyrone Tracy in this game. And I don't think that the change at quarterback with Tommy DeVito taking over should change anything. In fact, if anything, it might help, because one thing we learned about DeVito last year, he's not a guy who's going to push the ball downfield. He's going to dump off the pass. He's going to throw short passes, which really helps Tyrone Tracy in the passing game against the Tampa Bay defense that's given up the 4th most receiving yards to running backs. I also expect that because Tampa can score, you're going to see the Giants have to throw the football a lot to try to stay in games. Tracy has taken over the backfield from Devin Singletary, has run it effectively, and certainly all the talk out of New York is that late fumble against the Panthers in Germany is not going to impact his usage there. So I think Tyrone Tracy bounces back after a disappointing. He had a good game in Germany, just a disappointing end. I think he shakes. Back here on NFL Fantasy Live, it's time for a Next Gen Nugget. Our old guy, Next Gen Ken, what do you got this week?
Yeah, I want to talk about Marvin Harrison this week. I doubt anyone's sitting him with 6 teams on a bye, but he's got a great opportunity this week against Seattle. A must-start opportunity. Seattle has pressed outside wide receivers at the 4th highest rate in the NFL, and you can see here that Harrison has been fantastic against press, ranking top 3 in receptions, yards, and touchdowns. And it's clear here that Kyler Murray loves the matchup he sees when Harrison's against press, and he's targeted on 44.1 of his press routes. Not only is that the highest target rate of any wide receiver this season, that's the highest target rate of any wide receiver in the previous 8 seasons. So don't take my word for it, but like Marvin Harrison Jr. has only had 10 targets in one game this season, but based on that target rate and how much the Seahawks are pressing, I think we're going to see him tally his second game with double-digit targets this week.
All right. I do love him as a sleeper this week. 6 touchdowns, which actually leads the team. So we're all in with Maserati Mom.
We'll go sell some Dogecoin.
Thank you to Next Gen 10. Thanks to all of you for hanging out and watching it. Hopefully week 12 is a productive one for everybody.